All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chang Gang podcast. This is episode 26 featuring Kier, aka Kier underscore R66. You guys can see the panel on the top right. There's two commands for you guys to know. Exclamation podcast to get a better understanding of why I do these. And in short, it's just to get to know someone on a more personal level. And then exclamation guest is the second command. Feel free to drop Kira a follow on his Twitch channel.
Yes.
All right, welcome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for having me.
Of course,
It's a pleasure.
All right, let's start off with a brief introduction and also let me know some of your hobbies and interests.
Obviously, I think you might have seen it in the chat, but I'm 18. I'm from like Scotland in the UK. Currently studying at university, doing finance at university, and it's going okay so far. And kind of sports, I play rugby, football, and I do climbing as well. And yeah, some of my hobbies are kind of doing sports, the gym, going out for coffees, and also cooking. Like I really enjoy cooking, and yeah, I tried to like develop my skills a little bit recently because I've been on my own instead of having my parents cooking for me. So
Yeah. Talk about your personality. What do you like?
I'd say I'm like a mix of I can be introverted, but around the right people, I'm like quite outgoing, and like I like to get to know people, and like recently I've tried to kind of open myself up more, like meeting people because it helps a lot, I think. And yeah, I'll also say kind of like super chatty as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like to keep a conversation going.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So you're Scottish descent?
Yeah, my mum's South African, but I'm Scottish.
Okay. Yeah, just for the chat to know. All right, let's talk about your childhood, the very beginning, what life was like when you were born, up until where you're at today. Like a good overview, and then I'll ask specific questions.
I was kind of born into like I was born in kind of Glasgow, Scotland, but in like a different area. And then as a kid, I was kind of always like kind of getting put into sports, that type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
and mainly just like doing stuff, a lot of things like family orientated, and and then kind of going into like high school and stuff like that. I kind of changed a little bit. I stopped doing sports, stopped going out with like my family, and then went through a kind of like phase, and then like now I'm back again doing like sports and everything. So that's kind of like an overview without trying to be too specific.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's all good. I always get mistaken as Irish. It's quite funny.
Do you personally think the accents sound similar or what?
No, I don't think they sound similar at all, but I can see why somebody would think that.
Uh-huh.
And like, if you're not from if you're not from Scotland or Ireland,
Yeah.
then like it is pretty similar. It's just as a Scottish guy, I don't think it sounds anything like an Irish
Mm-hmm.
accent. Well,
Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting. Okay, let's talk about what your relationship is like with your parents and siblings.
so I've got one older sibling. Uh, like at the start, we never really got on, and we were always kind of like fighting. But like kind of as we like got older, I think we kind of both chilled out a little bit and like got to know each other better. So we're on really good terms. But I haven't seen her in a while because she's living in another country.
Mm-hmm.
And then with my parents, yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Like I didn't really appreciate them that much, and obviously like I think I was on me really. And but recently we've gotten really close again, which is like a good thing. And yeah, no, I really like my parents because we have a really good relationship right now.
Very nice. The age gap isn't that big, right, with you and your sibling?
Nah, it's only 3 years.
Okay. So as a child, how did your family handle discipline, like if you act out or anything like that?
Um, it was like at this obviously when I was like really young, they would like obviously confiscate stuff and all that kind of thing. But I think as I got older, they started letting me like face the consequences myself of like my all my actions.
Mm-hmm.
And like, but a lot of the times I'm not, it wouldn't get physical, but like with my dad, it would get like, especially with sports, he would get like he'd be pretty tough on me. And like he still is, but like I'm kind of thankful for it, honestly.
Mm-hmm. How would you describe the area where you were raised? Like what the people are like and what the town looks like and all that?
Um, it's I'm not gonna lie to you. The place where I'm growing up, it's kind of like a very a child family friendly place. It's got like good schools, a lot of opportunities, a nice area, and like a great place, like the ideal place to grow up. Um, I think other families and stuff like that, everyone was kind of the same, and it was a really nice environment. But like, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Great environment overall.
yeah, like just a lot of opportunities, a lot of nice people. Although that's like it's kind of like a fake nice area, so it's like everybody because it's a nice area, everybody kind of has to put on like a sort of act that they're this X type of person, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Are there a lot of foreigners in your in your area where you grew up? Like what's the diversity like?
Yes. Yeah, it is quite a lot of diversity. I think at the start it wasn't, but I think like as you kind of got older, the more people were coming over, and I think it was kind of like that because families would move to this area from other places because it is like a secure, nice area. So like, especially in school, all of my groups are really diverse in school. I was never kind of just like one group. It was always lot of ethnicities, a lot of different types of upbringings, people.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, mostly the similarity was everybody's parents was like a doctor or something like along those lines.
I see. Okay. Let's talk about your younger years. Um, so like your elementary years, is that what it's called there? Or
Yeah, like primary
yeah,
school. How
primary
you put
school?
it? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we could get into that. Give us like a
Mhm.
look of what you went through as a kid.
Like kind of in that primary school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say I was kind of, you know, in primary school, not to be like, it's like kind of like the popular, you know, sporty one that, you know, like a lot of people was like, my parents were like proud of it and stuff like that. And but like I did have a lot of problems. Like I had anger issues and stuff like that. That was like it really did kind of like hold me down a little bit. Yeah, and it got quite bad sometimes where I was kind of like a it was like the troublesome where you know he would have some sort of potential in terms of learning and stuff, but the troublesome side would like let it down.
Mm-hmm. Do you know where this came from? Like stemmed from the anger issues?
I, I, I I'm not really sure to be honest, but it's like I always just had a kind of short fuse, a short temper.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I don't know if I was always like that because I'm not my memory isn't the best from my really young years, but
Yeah.
I think yeah, I did kind of just always just act out. I think it stemmed from like pent up frustration. I was never good at like talking about things. Like I know I was pretty young at that time, but like even then, if something happened, I wouldn't like go home and tell my parents. I just keep it to myself.
I see. What were your academics like as a child in your primary years?
In my primary years, I'd say like like I was probably I had good grades. I slacked a little bit. I've always kind of tried to get the best I can with doing the littlest effort, which obviously it works at that stage because it's not like the work isn't to a high enough level yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like it was I was pretty decent. Sometimes I'd be really good and then sometimes really bad, but. overall, pretty decent. Yeah.
And how'd you spend your time as a kid? You mentioned some like sports that you're placed in.
Yeah,
Like
so
what?
as a kid, I was really into cycling because it was something my dad done, and me and him kind of got along together really well with it.
You said climbing?
So, no, cycling.
Oh, cycling.
Yeah,
Like
so like
bikes
my
and stuff.
dad, yeah. So my dad was really into it, and I kind of wanted a way to almost connect with him. So I thought, like, oh, I should start this, and then it would get me closer to him, which like it obviously did. And I was like decent at it. And then I used to take running quite seriously, like cross country running, which is like kind of like grass and outdoors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also did a lot of track and field, which is like 100 meters. Just an all round, like I would play a lot of sports. Like my mum would always tell me I was an annoying kid because like whatever sport I would play, I'd be like semi decent at it, like pretty good at it.
Yeah. It's awesome. Okay. And how about the years after that? Is it called middle school in your area or is it like secondary?
I, it's like set, yeah, high school, secondary school.
Oh, high school, secondary school for you?
Yes, it's like yeah, because I think what is it in America? Is it middle school and then high school?
Correct. Yeah. So it would
Right,
be
yeah,
sometimes either grade like 6 through 8 or 7 and 8. That's middle,
right.
and then high school is like 9 to 12.
Ah, okay, because ours just yeah, that 3 year, ours is just 6 years at high school, so you go from S1 to S6, which your final year.
Oh, okay. So how was that like for you overall?
Honestly, it was a complete roller coaster.
Hmm.
I went into that S1, the sporty kid, really high confidence, talked to a lot of people, and then so I kind of like so I kind of a lot happened with kind of groups and stuff like that and
Hmm.
experiences.
We'll talk about that
Uh,
for sure.
yeah, and then just to keep it kind of, I don't want to get into too much detail. And then obviously I kind of changed a bit in between like S3 to kind of this S5 area. And I was kind of a different person, really didn't speak much and that kind of thing. But then when I got into S6, I got comfortable around like all my friends again. And then I kind of changed to who I am just now again.
Hmm. Aside from like sports, were you involved with clubs or activities?
Yeah, I was for a while quite into sciences. So in my early years, I would go to a lot of like science clubs, chess, kind of try a lot of different things. Uh, I honestly didn't. I stopped trying so many things because I took cycling more seriously. So I didn't really have enough time to do other things during school. But I did a lot of like football club, and I joined the school of rugby when I got the opportunity because luckily enough, at the time I didn't actually like rugby at all,
Hmm.
but it gave me a free period out of school. So I was like, slacker me was like, oh, I get a period off class. It's
Yeah,
like I'll go do rugby, and then I ended up actually really enjoying it. So
it's pretty cool. How good at chess were you?
when I was a lot younger and when I played it really often, I was like, I would say I was at a decent level. I wasn't really too good at it. But I wasn't terrible at it either. But nah, nowadays if I tried, I'd get a beating. I think.
Beating.
Yeah.
And then how about for the academics in your later years? Was it just the same too?
My later years, honestly, it was kind of more for high school. It was like because a lot of stuff was going on. It was like I never really reached what I could have fully done because
Hmm.
I always had my mind on something else in the work and the same problem of kind of slacking off and just like not really putting a complete effort into it.
Yeah. So what would you say your like high school stereotype was like? What were you known as?
And it's difficult because it obviously changed like quite a lot.
Yeah, you could
So
talk
like
about all of them.
yeah, so kind of like the first kind of couple years, I would say like popular kid, kind of very high energy, would talk to anybody,
Mm-hmm.
uh, bit annoying actually, short temper and stuff like that, and kind of didn't really understand how to socially deal with some people, and then kind of this kind of like S4 to kind of S5 kind of stage for S3 is known as like the quiet kid. Nobody really spoke to me. I didn't speak to them. Not many friends. And kind of overall just like a bit like I had a negative outlook on like everybody had a negative perception of me because of stuff that happened.
Okay.
And then when I got was like S6 and when I kind of started to understand stuff and well kind of make up with people, I was kind of known as like the laid back guy.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't talk too much, but like also can like talk to you if you came up to me. And yeah, it's like overall like pretty nice. Uh, yeah, I kind of say around that, but still a bit like a little bit mysterious because I deleted all like social media in that year. So like outside of school, apart from my really close friends, nobody would like have any idea what was going on with my life and stuff.
Yeah, that was your decision to make. You just wanted it to be mysterious like that.
Yeah, because well, the I would talk about it later if you ask me, but it's kind of more just I got used to anything that I done would like personally, people would like kind of attack it and try attack me for it. So I always thought if nobody knew what I was doing or what I liked, like they wouldn't be able to make fun of it. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how I dealt with it.
Sure. Let's talk about the activities and stuff you were interested in. So let's start with cycling, since that was like the earliest, right?
Yeah, kind of. I used to I cycled for my national team, like Scotland. I represented them when I was 13. In the Isle of Man in like a cycling competition. Like you can say like a kind of tour where it was like we traveled over there and you stayed with your club and you rode for your national team and tried to get the best result and it's all the best people in the countries like UK going right there. And I also I got a bronze medal at my national track, which is like you get different types of cycling, which is like you get road, which is like obviously kind of just normal like tarmac cycling. And then you get mountain bike, which is kind of trails, that type of thing. And then you get track, which is my favorite. And it's kind of like a velodrome, which is like a it's kind of like it's kind of like an oval shape, and it's like wood, and it's got really steep banking,
Mm-hmm.
and it's you don't have any gears or brakes, and yeah, you can't like just stop your feet. You have to like gradually pedal, and it's a lot more fast paced and attacking, which was like what I was into as a kid for cycling.
Yeah. What's the general distance like for those cycling events, and how many participants are there?
Well, I think the Scotland ones there was only about I'd probably say around 40 or 50 at most on the track at once. Uh, because like, I think the track events are smaller and you can't. It's because we're Scotland. It's quite like a niche, a small group of people who actually do it. So Uh, I'm not sure how long it is. I can't. I'm not actually. It's not. It's been so long since I've done it,
Oh,
but I
okay.
think it was like you get a certain amount of laps of it, and I think all of my races were only around like 20 or 40, 20 to 40 between that range, where the professionals are doing about 80 to 100 or
Yeah.
more.
Insane.
Yeah,
What would you say was your favorite memory or moment from cycling?
honestly, when like I won, like how it made my dad feel. Like seeing him like actually proud of me and stuff. That was the best. That was the part that made it worth it for me. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but as I got older, obviously, I began to not like it. So that's like that kind of played a factor. But like the fondest memory, definitely my dad.
So talk about how you actually got out of it and what was the response like from your dad or anyone who was invested in that?
Um, the reason why I got out of it was because this was the point where it's kind of like that S1, S2 kind of stage where I've just moved school. You know, you're meeting a lot of new people. It's a lot bigger school. We're going from like 500 students to over 2,000 in our school, or over 3,000, sorry. And it's like I had to train about like 4 days a week, at least 4 or 5 days, if I wanted to keep up the level. And it'd be like parties. Like I know the parties are meaningless now, but like back then I didn't. I wish I'd kind of went to them because then I would have made more friends, and that's why I quit it. And when I did quit it, it wasn't good at all for me because like obviously it's my dad's favorite sport, and he kind of thought it was more of like a lazy way of like I couldn't be bothered, and he didn't really know it was because like I was worried about making friends and stuff.
Yeah, I see.
And other people around me were like, some people were obviously supporting it. A lot of my mates at school were,
Hmm.
but a lot of like older people were kind of like, you're throwing away something you're really gifted at. But for me, anyways, I didn't look at it like that because if I didn't enjoy something, it would never be sustainable.
Very true. Yeah. So what year or how old were you when you got out of it? What's S1 and S2?
S1 and S2 is kind of 13, 14. I
Okay.
think I think I was 15 when I got out of cycling, like gave it up.
Hmm. I see.
Because that was around the same time that I started rugby.
Okay, so how about for like track and field and cross country? What was the experience like?
Uh, I did it quite a lot during kind of P6, P7, which is when you're kind of 10 to 11. It's because I would do it with a school.
Hmm.
And then when we got to high school, I'd do the same thing because honestly, it was kind of my dad would kind of say, just do as many sports you can. And I actually really enjoyed running at the time. So I would do all the sports days at the school and do the cross country. But soon enough, I kind of just like started giving up on that too because I wasn't enjoying it. And yeah, like I kind of fell out with everybody who was doing like track and field in my year. And I used to really like the sports day where like everybody would see you and like how you perform. But then like obviously because people didn't like me, I kind of like wanted to stay away from it because I thought they would like judge me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into details for all the social aspects of what you went
Hmm.
through for sure. Okay, how about for football? How's your
Football,
experience?
yeah, so football, I played in like the best division, like the best league in probably in my country that's not professional, like professional youth. You get something like pro youth, which is all the professional teams have youth teams, which kind of like the goal is to invest in them and train them, and then hopefully they'll be good. But I was like just below that, so at like club level, and I was in the best league at the time, and yeah, we were always like a top team, and I was never that like standout flashy player. I was always kind of like just a role player, a team player.
Mm-hmm.
But then I played it at school as well, but I quit that around I quit that around I think yeah, kind of 16, 17. Yeah, 16 because of obviously social issues as well,
Yeah,
sadly.
a lot of
But
social issues.
yeah, I don't want to be like that, but yeah. Uh, no, but I continued playing for school because I actually really enjoyed playing for my school team because obviously it got me time to play with my mates, and there was ended up being like kind of like show matches in our final years of schools before we left.
Mm-hmm.
So I played in a couple of those, and yeah, nah, football's lots of fun.
Okay, and the biggest thing that you're currently into, rugby. Let's talk about
Yeah,
how you grew a passion for that and what you've went through and what you're doing now.
kind of for all my sports, as soon as I would do it, I would be like, I will not instantly be good at it, but like I would be kind of gifted in a way. So I would be decent at a decent level at first, and then I would just kind of stay at that level. Whereas rugby, it was the most interesting because it was the first kind of sport I properly played where I was like absolutely terrible to begin with. So, and like, I think it was the fact of proving people wrong that kind of like gave me that initial drive for it,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of made me fall in love with it because I would love like someday would say, "Oh, you're bad," or something like I'd hear a classmate say like, "Oh, that he's bad. He done this and that in the game," and I would go, "I want to work on that," and then prove them wrong. And it was kind of the same with my dad. He was kind of like, "I don't know why you gave up like cycling for this sport if you're not even good at it," and I was like, "I want to get good at it to prove him that I'm like worthy of like being able to do that sport."
Yeah. Talk about the physicality of it because I'm not really like big on the
Okay,
sport.
rugby is brutal, man. Honestly, I think it's safer than American football because you don't have pads or anything, so people know their limits of their body, and it's very safe. Like from a young age, they train you to do like very safe like tackling technique
Mm-hmm.
and like trying to put your head to the side, not so that it doesn't like hit it, and not leading with your shoulder and stuff like that, just for your safety and others as well. But I found the physicality very hard to kind of get used to because obviously I was doing football, kind of track and field, all this stuff that like requires you to be basically skin and bone. And I'm going to rugby, which is instantly like, oh, you need to bulk up, get big. And at the time I was like, I think I was like 5'6" or something like that. So compared to what I'm just now, it was really small and I didn't weigh a lot. So I kind of did get battered around my first couple of years of rugby.
Mm-hmm. Oh, talk on that. Like your size compared to like every other kid to where you're at now.
Well, I think then it's like I was pretty much the smallest guy in the team most of the time, or one of the smallest.
At what
And
age?
compared to like this is kind of like 16,
Okay.
15, 16, I was kind of smaller than everybody else. And then all of a sudden, when I was like 17, I just between like 16, 17, 17 to 18, I just went from like 5'7", 5'8" to like 6 foot. But like that absolutely killed my knees. But and I also started over lockdown. I went from like 55 kilograms to like originally to around like 70, and then I went up from 70 to 85. So I had like a really big weight change,
Mm-hmm.
which I've lost a bit of that weight now because when I first put it on, it was just a lot of not the best. Like I'd say kind of like more fat than just like muscle.
Yeah. So
But
you're
yeah,
at
I'm
a
kind
good
of
size?
I'd say I reasonably want to kind of gain a little bit more mass because I'm still quite small.
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms of height, I'm not, but in terms of like in physicality, I'm in the middle. But like I'd like to be kind of for myself like a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Uh, but I'm not. I'm kind of the average size for my kind of position. But see, from moving to university, I've kind of found that I obviously do need to get bigger because I'm playing guys that are like what 21, 22 years old, so
Mm-hmm.
they're a lot bigger than me.
Oh, so you made the team basically, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah,
Was it like through a
but
tryout process?
I think well, that's it's kind of like that for football, but for rugby, it was more kind of you've got the first team, second team, third team, and then you've also kind of just got players that are social players, you can say, because there's social events every week, and you can kind of just go there, go to training, have fun, and you don't need to play games if you don't want to. But I'm trying to get in the second team right now because I'd prefer to be in like the second team and be a little bit competitive.
How many
But
teams are there?
the first there's three, but
Okay.
the first team is kind of you're either if you're in there as a first year, you probably played for like a private school that was really good, or you're just really good, or you're a fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
It's mainly just older guys.
I see. Okay. Throughout your life, have you ever sustained any like serious injury?
Yeah, so in my under 18 season of rugby, I tore my MCL, which is
Mm.
like a medial collateral ligament on your knee. It was like this guy stepped one way, and I went the same way, and somebody hit my knee on the way that I stepped, and my knee kind of like went inwards to the other direction, and it just
Oh.
tore. And I was out for like I think 3 months. And from football when I was younger, kind of around 14, 15, I partially tore my adductor muscle, which is kind of like the kicking motion, like when you kind of move your groin out and put it across. It partially tore, and I went to physio for like over a year for that because I'd keep hurting it again and like not taking enough time off, not doing enough stretches. And then I'd come back and then just hurt it. So I had quite a lot of injuries, to be honest. And my worst injury would be when I was 13 and cycling. Uh, I was mid like kind of sprint, and I don't know what happened. I think I blacked out during it, but I like broke my thumb really badly. Like I was either gonna have to get metal pins in it or like a cast, and it's still not straight anymore, my thumb. And half my face was like road rash, so I got the nickname Two Face in school, which was quite fun,
Oh.
as you can imagine.
Man, you must have been going through a lot of pain while you were doing those sports.
Yes. To be fair, compared to some people, I'm not actually too badly off for injuries. But
Hmm.
I'm thankful because I've been able to come back from all of them, which is the best part. So,
I see. All right. So, anything like memorable from rugby so far? Any stories or what you're proud of the most?
uh, I'd say like the story I'm proud of the most was like this like last season when I was in my year of under 18s, my second year, and my original coach from under 16s who had seen me and he was like, and I wasn't very good. He seen me kind of like develop and like at the end of the season when he kind of like gave me a pat on the back like and was like you've like really improved. Like that really meant a lot to me because like back in the day, like he didn't mean it in a bad way, but I kind of took it quite personally at the time with him making fun of my skill and like calling me a footballer at rugby, which like really did annoy me just because of like physicality and like injuries and stuff like that. But
Hmm.
when he kind of told me you're a proper rugby player, like that was my most memorable moment.
Yeah, acknowledged for that.
Yeah, and also another one I would say is when my dad came to watch my games for rugby, and he's never really like been into rugby, and I got him into it, and like my family, like also my like grandparents and stuff, they watch a lot of rugby, and yeah, when they came to watch down to watch my games, and I like performed well, like that really meant a lot to me.
How many players are there on a rugby team?
15, but like there's a lot more. I think you get 5 subs as well, so there's about 20 players, 22.
Hmm. And when you were in high school, like how good would you say you were compared to like everyone else in your school?
At rugby,
Yeah.
uh, I'd kind of say I was at the lower end in high school. This coming out into the final kind of years of high school, the kind of year I was starting to kind of get into the kind of middle area, like not better than not better than like most people, but not worse. So I
Okay.
was kind of just in the middle of the pack, and it's
Yeah.
been like recently, kind of when I left school and then went into university where I kind of took that extra step of like being like over above average, I'd say, for my school.
Hmm. So what like motivates you to continue with rugby after high school into your university years?
I'd say this kind of social side of it, because like a lot of my friends play rugby and it keeps me quite close with them and we go out on rugby night outs and like it's just something about the kind of rugby team that it's like different. It's like you kind of feel quite close to everybody and
Yeah.
I really like that, but it's also I like it's why I started gym as well, going on with like the anger issues and obviously stuff that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
I used to just bottle it up and never put it somewhere, but I found rugby to be that place where it's like I can put it there. It's literally like it's so good. It's like controlled fighting. That's why I think rugby is controlled fighting because you're not in a fight, but like you're able to put the same aggression in and actually get something out of it and channel it for good. And obviously, I'm really competitive, so I need that competitiveness with kind of like playing for my school, playing for my university.
Yeah. Have you ever encountered bullying in school?
Yeah, uh, I'd say like it was kind of obviously mild at first, but it got quite bad during around like S2 to kind of S3, S4 when I was kind of around like say like 13 to 15. I kind of did go through a really tough time with that. It affected me quite a lot, but we're a lot the better of it now.
Yeah. For what reason were you bullied?
Kind of just, I'd say like sad, but like bullied for being myself. Like I was too loud and kind of like always over happy and like I don't know if it was because I was good at sports or something, but some people just like were like because I was always happy, they were like felt the need to kind of change that. There was one boy that always kind of was like the main one, and I honestly to this day it's like multiple people told me it's jealousy, and like I do believe them. Not that I'm like got this desirable life, but like the way he picked on me personally and kind of took apart everything that I liked and like made me hate it. Like I thought it was kind of jealousy.
Mm-hmm. So how do you actually deal with that though?
Uh, I didn't I I didn't really deal with it well, to be honest. I had to go see a therapist, uh, like kind of S4, S5-ish, because it was like I dealt with it for so long, and like all of a sudden it just kind of came out in just one big wave, and that was kind of like the time where I was reckless and kind of just obviously started doing drugs, started doing alcohol, everything like that. That's my way of dealing with it, which like wasn't a good path, but and also fighting as well. Like we'd get into multiple fights and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. So you never really confronted that individual, the bully
No,
you
I
said?
did. I did. That guy, right? We had this music technology class. I'll say it just for the sake of the story. It's not actually nice. I don't want to be like that, but basically, this guy would. I found PC to be my safe place, and I used to be friends with this. Like this was what hurt the most. I used to be like really close friends, and I'd play PC with him all the time, and then all of a sudden, he started like making fun of my PC name and everything and like saying it every day to me. Every day I was in this class, 3 days a week, he would just constantly torment me the whole class. And like after like a year of it, like I literally had enough. And he had this girlfriend who's probably, I think he's still his girlfriend at the time. And like at the time, she was kind of struggling with her weight. And like I never want to attack somebody for this, but it was just like the amount that he hurt me. I wanted to hurt him, so I said I turned around like my name might be this on PC, but at least I don't have like a fat bitch for a girlfriend. So, and then we fought. But I did like it's so dumb looking back at it now. And like fighting, I don't think fighting resolves anything. I think what resolved it the most was getting over him and doing better in life, which while he was falling down and not doing anything, I think that was the main part.
Mm-hmm. Was that the
Absolutely.
only instance of bullying, would you say? Just him
Nah.
mainly?
There was a time where I kind of just lash out and I would like put holes in my walls and stuff like that, which are like terrible because obviously family are providing you with a house. And I called somebody which I thought was a close friend, and like they were there with people and didn't tell me, and I kind of like confessed everything to them, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
I told them I need help, and I basically like for the next while at school, people would just come up to me and repeat words that I said on that phone call to me. And like there was a while where like every lunch I wouldn't go like around people. I'd like go and watch myself and stuff. It was quite difficult, to be honest.
Yeah.
And yeah, but that kind of went away. I went away over time. If I just left it, what always made it worse was when I kind of arose to the situation, like visibly got annoyed at it. And I'll, if you want, I'll elaborate on another one.
Yeah.
That's why I kind of quit football. Was because I was in quite a good team, and everybody was like, when I started kind of falling behind a little bit, nearing the end of it. Uh, so there was one time where I was like, I kind of got a nickname, and I thought it was like a good nickname. It was like, yeah, there's a player called Leroy Sané, and I'm Kier, so they call me Kiroy Sané, but I think it was more of like taking the mick out of me, either that, and it's like before a match one time, this is on top of all the school stuff. The guy came up to me and he's like, I don't know why he said it to me. It was just like, oh, he's just like, oh, you're a meme, mate. You're not an actual good player. It's like nobody actually thinks you're good, and you just play you because you feel sorry for you. And like, it was like, this was at the time where it was like, I was going through a lot of things, so I took that really personally, and it was really tough. And I found it hard to go back to football after that. And to make matters even worse, I told my parents that was the reason why I left them, but they went and told the coach, and the coach went and sat down with all the players, and like a lot of those players went to my school. So when I came back and I went to school, they would all say like, they would all kind of like spread rumors about the bullying and like, oh, I get bullied, and I told my parents and stuff like that, and it was, yeah, that was not the best either.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So those have been your experiences with bullying at
Yeah,
least. So would you say going to therapy helped you individually, personally?
no, because like I made it hard for my therapist to help me. I wouldn't say anything. Like I would just kind of like act like everything was okay. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was very good at I was very good at being able to when they came over act all happy, act like I knew everything that was going on, that I understood everything.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality I didn't. They would never see me at my worst. So it was really tough. But what helped a lot was obviously gaming and finding like new passions, new hobbies. I found somebody through a tournament organizing thing I did, who was like really similar with men on like basically just nights of talking to them and realizing that it was like what I was going through. It wasn't just me, it was everyone else. Like there was a lot of others who went through it. It really did help.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously my parents as well. This was kind of when I started to get closer with my mum because she realized something was up. And
Mm-hmm.
that was when I really started to bond with her, and she kind of shared her what happened to her with me as well. So that really like helped me kind of go like, oh, with my mum's been through that, then like I can get through it.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point, I guess you could give us like the specific stories and details of what you went through, like throughout your school life and everything, and then
Uh,
I'll ask you specific questions later too.
do you mean like kind of like what if I've been diagnosed with anything like that, like what I actually dealt with, or
Yeah, you could talk about just everything you want to let out, because I'm sure
yeah,
you've went through a lot, and I don't know what you went through, so I can't,
yeah,
yeah,
no, it's
ask.
like so I'd say the main one was like for social anxiety.
Okay.
Uh, just kind of like when you walk past a group of people and you hear them all laugh, and because of the bullying, it would make me think it was me. It would make me think that they were laughing at me. So I had that quite badly. I'd say depression because I got diagnosed with depression, and had to take like medicine for it because I kind of got into a dark place where I was like, I'm never gonna be able to get rid of this reputation. My life will like always be like this, which like obviously it won't be. But at the time, I really did like feel like it was like that. It was kind of the end there. Uh, and like overall anxiety, just like my confidence would be completely shattered. So something as simple as like going to the front of the classroom to walk past and put something in the bin, I would be like, it would take me a lot of confidence to muster that and do that. And even speaking in public as well.
Mm-hmm.
And more important, like the worst one was like being okay with yourself, as in like being able to accept yourself. I found that quite difficult because like from the bullying, I was made to hate everything that I liked. So I thought like I can't like anything and I can't enjoy anything. So when I'd have an enjoyable moment, I like wouldn't be able to enjoy it because I'd be telling myself like you're not supposed to enjoy this.
Yeah. So those are the main things that you've been going through.
Yeah. I still like experience them like a little bit. Obviously, they don't just like disappear, vanish into thin air. But I'm getting, I've come to terms of like how to deal with it and like how to understand what's wrong and like how I can change instead of like just being stuck in that kind of zone that I was
Mm-hmm.
in for a couple of years. So I honestly, I'm like, I wouldn't say like, I obviously wouldn't want anybody to go through it, but I'm actually quite thankful for what happened because as much it is like it did affect me negatively, I did learn a lot from it. And it was like really valuable lessons. And I think for like the outcome of me overall, it was really good.
So I'm trying to piece it all together. Could you kind of like give a timeline of what your life was like and like how it led up to all these issues? You could definitely tell us stories too. Similar to how you mentioned the bullying was like a
Yeah,
huge
so
factor, but like when was that turning point for you?
I think the turning point was like it was kind of like when I changed schools. I went
Okay.
from like really popular, and I was still popular at the start, but kind of like I started to realize that like people were different, and I didn't, and people were changing. People were getting more mature. Well, I didn't. I developed quite late, so I was quite immature, loud. I didn't. Some of the bullying I would say would be brought on by myself for being too loud, being like not dealing with some situations correctly.
What age? Like
And
14, 15?
yeah, 14,
Okay.
kind of, I'd say. And then, yeah, that's when the proper bullying started around 14, 15. And then kind of through 14 to 17 was that whole timeline of kind of bullying. And like 16 to 17 was getting a therapy and dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like 18 onwards from where I am right now, 18 was like kind of like going through with it and making up things better and like how to deal with it and how to like make it influence like my life better now.
Yeah. So how are you holding up right now with your mental health?
I have my moments. Honestly, it's like some of the drinking, like going out and partying and stuff, which is like I enjoy it, but it does affect me quite a lot. Like the next day where I'm sat there and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. But I think that's the main one of the main reasons why I switched to my flat, like my flat to my flat, to my friends. Because then I know I've got people there and I don't feel alone. Like I'm door away and I can go into the kitchen and can I get that like positivity and a reason to get up. Because even I'm like alone here, it's like sometimes you're just like, why should I ever get up and do something?
Mm-hmm.
Because like you just feel alone in that moment. But I'd say overall I've been pretty good here just because it's like a new experience, it's a new chapter, and you decide how that chapter is going to be. So I wanted to make sure that when I was deciding it, it was going to be like the right way rather than let myself fall into kind of that pit again.
Yeah. So people don't really know the context, but basically you're in your first year of university, correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in my fifth week right now. Well, starting tomorrow will be my fifth week of university, and then I've got kind of like a this is my first year, so we've got 12 weeks of like this is our first semester, and then you'll go away, you'll have a break, and then you'll come back for your second semester. And yeah, we're pretty early on right now. I would say I'm not really completely on top of your work,
Mhm.
but right now it's only first year, so you don't need to be scoring extremely high. And also, my parents don't really expect that of me, apart from my dad. But I'm kind of just figuring out how to completely get my life down first, like how to like shopping, everything like that.
Yeah. So before we actually get into your university life, finishing up like your high school life, are there
Mhm.
any specific stories or memories you would like to tell us to give us a good understanding of what else you went through?
Uh, it's not a tough question actually. So it's like
Yeah.
there's like quite a lot,
Yeah, I know exactly, because over
but I
time
would
you've told me things.
yeah, I would say like a highlight. I guess you could say a highlight moment was kind of like S6, where it was the last day, and I'm quite quiet and like reserved, and a lot of people came up to me and were like actually like I'm gonna miss you and stuff like that, and it was kind of like the turning point of like wow, kind of people actually do like me quite a bit, and that was a highlight moment for me, knowing that like I did change into a better version of myself.
Hmm. That's like the near end. You mean like recently, right?
Yeah, that was like right at the end.
Hmm.
And I got a new group of, and also another highlight was getting a complete new group of friends and like moving on from the type of people that hurt me.
Yeah. So
And that was
aside from the bullying, you're saying other people have hurt you?
hmm? Oh no, just kind of like the group, the overall group that was like involved with that main guy who done it.
I see.
So I moved away and I got kind of new friends through rugby and stuff. And then I'd say highlight for me was being able to gel in with them and go out and like really have good times with them. And they honestly formed really good friendships with people that I still speak to just now
Yeah.
from back home.
Okay, and then how did you decide to go to the university you're at? What was like the decision behind that and like your studies, the major, finance?
Um, well, over the kind of lockdown, my dad works for a top four firm in the UK for finance. And that's his job's tax advising. So luckily I got through the summer. I said I wanted to do something business related. So completely through all of his work in lockdown, he let me sit through all of his presentations, and he let me look at the economic sector, tax sector, finance, and then even stuff like management. And then I picked out like what I was good at with like maths, and I was like, you know what, I'll do finance. And with the actual university choice, I kind of did want to move away from home because like I find it quite stressful with my parents with like exam grades and stuff because they stress me about it quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to move away from home, and I felt like it was like right at that time to do that. And the actual university, it was like I didn't come here just because my friend, like my best friend, was coming. It was more kind of like the overall look of the campus, the feel of it when I came and visited,
Mm-hmm.
and like just the kind of teachers that were there and stuff. The impression it gave of me, it was like, and yeah, it kind of just seemed right.
I see. And then how'd your family take your decision? They were just completely fine with
Uh,
it?
they were really supportive of it actually, and they said they think that moving away would have done me a lot better than staying at home, which I was actually really happy about. And honestly, I think my dad was impressed that I wanted to do something that he kind of like was doing as well. And like I think he was like quite happy as well.
Yeah. Nice. Are you involved with like any clubs and stuff right now in university?
Yeah, yeah. So the rugby club is the main one, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the problem is because my rugby is like I was gonna do football, but you have to choose between one or the other. You can't do both, sadly. So I
Oh,
had to choose between rugby. Uh, I chose rugby, but yeah, and it's like 3 days a week that I have to go to rugby, so I don't really have much time to do anything else. So I'm only part of the rugby club, but I go to the gym.
hmm. Speaking of the gym, what do you like working out the most?
I'd probably say back, shoulders, and biceps are my favorite. Least favorite's legs, obviously, because every time I do legs, I literally feel like I'm like dying when I'm dragging myself at the gym. My legs are just complete jelly.
Uh huh.
But I should probably not neglect them as much as I do.
Gotcha. Okay, we're gonna talk about some of your interests, and then we're gonna transition to like more of your social life, like the
Yeah,
aspects, all that crazy stuff.
yeah,
Are you into like anime, dramas, movies, like shows in
yeah,
general?
yeah. Anime has been something else that helped me, and I really I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like some like odd animes as well, and I'm quite like recently since I've moved away, since I don't have my computer, I've been like really into watching like more movies and stuff like that. And obviously recently been watching Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
So you should all probably have heard about it because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everybody's speaking about it, and I've really enjoyed that. So
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do your top five anime.
I'd probably say top one's Naruto. Second one's Hunter X Hunter. Say third one is probably Tokyo Revengers, a recent one. I'd say like fourth one, uh, Tokyo Ghoul, and fifth one. Ooh, there's so many that I've watched that you kind of like half forget you watched. But I'd say a recent one. It's
Mm-hmm.
called Koikomo. It's quite weird, but I quite liked it.
Nice. When did you start watching anime? Do you remember like your first anime or something
I
that
my
you're
first
invested
my
in?
first anime my first anime, funnily enough, was Naruto, which everybody says I'm insane for, because everybody's like, oh, you should start off like watch the low ones, which they only have like 25 episodes or something like that, something like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's what I got recommended that first, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna watch Naruto the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was 17, yeah, S5.
Yeah.
Because my best friend at the time, he was trying to get me on anime for like 2 years, and obviously back in high school, if you watched anime, you were viewed as kind of like a weird person, and back then I really cared what people thought, so I was like, nah, I'm never watching anime, but I kind of eventually gave in, and I was like, hey, you know what, I'll give it a try, and I really enjoyed it, so
Yeah. It's pretty cool. How about your top five shows that you've watched?
that's Squid Game. I'm not gonna lie, hey, there's a chance it may be a number one.
Whoa.
I don't, I
Okay,
don't, I don't
okay.
really watch. I don't really watch too many actual shows, honestly, like series.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay, that's fair.
I'd have to look at my Netflix always. Honestly, like I wouldn't be able to give you like a top five,
Nah, it's fine. It's fine.
which is quite bad. But
Yeah. It's okay. You like Squid Game. That's nice. If there's anything
uh,
else, you could just let me know.
um,
And
I
then
have to.
you
There's a
mentioned.
Money Heist. Money Heist was decent.
Oh, Money Heist. Okay. Netflix stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of a Netflix main at this point. Don't
Hmm.
really watch. I'm not. Don't really watch much else. Um,
How about your interest in cooking? What's like your go-to dish, or what do you like baking?
Uh, honestly, I don't really make too much right now, but my favorite is like my best. The thing I'm cooking at is omelets. I don't know
Omelets?
why. Like I always like my mum could never make them, and my
Uh-huh.
dad was like always busy. And whenever we went on holiday, I would just make omelets for everybody, and that's kind of like my signature go-to dish, you can say.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's an omelet. It's like it's simple and stuff, but so my passion from cooking kind of was just like you're able to listen to music, and I love music, and you're able to just kind of like be yourself. And I have no shame in saying that I go over to the kitchen and I'm like dancing about while I'm cooking, and just like kind of in my element at that point. It
Mm-hmm.
kind of just away from everything, and then at the end of it, it's like rewarding because you get to eat a nice meal.
Yeah. All right. So are you just in school right now, or are you also working?
I'm just in school right now because I'm gonna get a job over the summer. What I usually do is just get a job over the summer,
Mm-hmm.
which and then raise enough money that will like fund me throughout the whole year at university. Kind of is like just like a side money, but I wanted to get a job, but I kind of my mum was like, and then I kind of soon realized that I wanted to hold back a little bit, let myself get used to school life, see
Yeah.
what kind of schedule I can work with. And then if I am sat there and I'm like, you know what, I could actually do 2 days of working in between this and this date, then I could go do that. But I kind of just wanted to give it time at first.
Mm-hmm.
What's my,
Yumi asked, yeah, favorite food to eat.
it's got to be pizza.
Pizza?
Pizza, yeah, pizza is my go-to.
What kind of pizza?
I'm a basic boy, margarita, like a classic, just tomato, cheese and tomato. But I quite like barbecue pizza as well.
Mm-hmm. Sure, for sure.
No, no, cheese, not cheese only, but like cheese and tomato base. It's very basic, but you can't beat when it's done well. It's banging.
All right, let's talk about your work experiences then. You can start from the first one and let us know like what you do and stuff like that.
My, my first one was working in a charity shop. It was working in Oxfam, like this kind of one in the UK. It was basically I was just like the back store because I wasn't old enough to work on the tills because I was like 15,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really lucky I didn't have to work young, and only until I was 15 that I had to get like a first kind of volunteer job, and it's kind of like steaming like clothes, doing like tags, uh, and basically just helping with whatever they needed.
Got it. Oh, I just got rated. Oh.
Rated.
Shanghai Poppy, thank you so
Let's
much for
go.
the rate again.
5 million viewers. Let's go.
It's 5 million viewers. What's up?
Yeah.
Hope stream was well. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for the shout out too, Kev. Welcome, Raiders. Yeah, podcasting though. Okay, so that was you said charity shop, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then my second job was this summer actually.
Okay.
I've been very fortunate with not having to work because like my parents are like they've worked hard, so it's kind of put me in a position to do that. But it was working in a school closed shop in like a very not as good area as we're from where I'm from. So it was an experience for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and also this guy, I'm not gonna lie, his business isn't doing the best. And it was tough shifts, full time. I worked full time from the get go because I just wanted to get as much money as I could.
Yeah.
And, and it was yeah, but I had to deal with a lot of angry customers that year. It wasn't the best.
Wait, what do you specifically do?
I had to so basically I had to deal with customers. So they'd come in and I'd be dealing with orders. So somebody wanted to try something on, then I would have to go get it for them, or write up sales, do the tills, get stock, get orders in, do online orders. It was just like basically everything at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any interesting stories with either jobs dealing with people?
I've got the worst story ever off my second job. Okay,
Yeah, go
so
for it.
there's
Tell
just
us.
there's the front shop, and in the corner of our shop was a changing room. So I'm in the front shop, and this changing room is direct like over to behind my shoulder to the right, and I'm dealing with this woman and her child, and there's a gran there, and I didn't. So basically, she asked me, "Oh, do you know where the changing rooms are?" And I didn't know, but their gran was standing right behind me, and I've went like this to like turn around and point, and I've elbowed her in straight in the nose and made her nose bleed.
Oh, no.
It
Uh-huh.
it was so horrible. You know, it was funny. I thought I was gonna get fired, but my manager laughed and he was like, "You just lost me a customer."
What was
But
the response from the family? Yeah.
I said sorry about 50 times probably. And yeah, the gran was pretty shocked to be honest, and she wasn't very happy. Yeah, I did get a little bit of mouth verbal,
Hmm.
but it was all right. It was all right in the end.
Or any other stories? That's crazy.
There was one where in the home one, I was the only guy in the front shop, and without my manager knowing, well, I say manager, I was volunteer. You're not supposed to do tills when you're 15, but just through observation, I knew how to work them, and I accidentally gave somebody a t-shirt for like I think it was like £5 cheaper than it was, because I done the till wrong. So yeah, but they didn't find out. It was only my co-workers that knew, and luckily they were pretty nice. So I got away with it, but yeah, I was prepared to lose the volunteer job there as well.
Gotcha, gotcha. So that was your two work experience jobs, and now you're just
Yeah.
chilling with school, just getting
Mhm.
acclimated. I see. All right, let's talk about the social aspects of your life. Um, from what I know, you're like a party type, or I don't know, clubs,
Just a little,
bars,
just a little.
stuff like that, right? When did
Yeah,
you get into that, and talk about your experiences?
it was this summer when I started earning money, and I actually like I turned 18,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd go out like and drink and obviously and like go to parties when I was younger, but this summer I'd started partying I'd probably say like once a week like hard, and then like kind of twice a week, and it was really through lockdown where it was like nobody had anything to do, everywhere was shut, and obviously when it was allowed, it was like me and these three other guys. We would literally just go over to one of our houses and just drink and just party. And yeah, so I kind of got into that culture. I'd probably say this year, like completely.
This year, okay. When was your first time drinking?
14.
14. What was the like? What's the story behind that?
Had a football gaff. Well, gaff's a house party where we'd won a game, and it was my first time drinking, and obviously you can't handle your spirits when it's your first time drinking, and everybody else who had been drinking for a while got this thing called Mad Dog 2020, and it's like 15% and it's 750 milliliters, and I downed it in like I think a minute and a half was the record time that I got, and then just spewed everywhere, and I had to get picked up by my parents. So it was a good first time, fun.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Yeah,
So, what kind of drunk are you?
I'd say like just appreciative of friends and likes to be around people, and kind of not the heart of the party because I'm not really too loud as well, but like I kind of like give off good energy, jokes, and yeah, just like obviously the massive confidence boost as well. It
Mm-hmm.
helps. Well, I'm not gonna say I have a reputation of, I mean, getting with girls, but I do talk to a bit. I do talk to them a bit when I'm at, like when I'm drunk.
Got it. Don't worry. We'll talk about those stories.
Mm.
Um, favorite drink and least favorite drink.
Least favorite drink's got to be Mad Dog 2020. I've never been able to recover after that first time drinking it.
Yeah.
It just gives me the fear. Probably say my best drink. I don't know why I love Sambuca. Like Sambuca shots. I don't know why they're just I love them.
Zambica? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, Sambuca. It's like I'll send you. It's like it's kind of like a licorice type flavor, and it's a shot.
Oh, okay. I see. I see. Italian. Mm-hmm. All right. Do you have any interesting stories to tell us about your partying experiences? I'm sure there's quite a lot, so you could tell all of it if you want.
I mean, there's so I need like I can say one like recently. There was one where it was during the summer that my friend might have got up to some activities in a bathroom, and I was sat at the table alone, and I'm really drunk at this point, and
Mm-hmm.
their manager comes up behind me, and it's like he taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, oh, we know what your friend's done. It was the worst. It was the worst thing ever, and I say like I'll tell you a full. I'll tell you a full one. It was like we had a rugby thing, and it's like a flat crawl. So basically, you went to like four different flats, and every single flat was a different type of alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one was you had to shotgun a beer, and then drink another one, and then on the way they would give you another one, and then on the way we did this thing called a boat race, whereas you had a full bottle of rum, a liter bottle, and you lined up in two lines, and the first line to finish first didn't get a forfeit. And yeah, the forfeit was you had like you got to throw an egg at them and stuff like that. This was
An
for rugby.
egg?
Yeah. And we got given an egg for the full night, and if you cracked the egg, you had to eat it from where you dropped it. So I know somebody that dropped theirs in the dirt, like on the gravel of this of this boat walkway. Literally had to sit up and eat it off there. And I ended up being sick because I pretended to throw my egg at the president of the rugby team. So and he turned
Mm-hmm.
around. He wasn't very happy. He was like, "Eat your egg, mate." So that was quite rough. And that night, my friend stole I think it was a 35-pound bottle of vodka out of the club. And yeah, it's
Jeez.
quite hard to like. There's so many stories. Like I'm pretty sure you've probably heard quite a lot of them from me. Just like coming into streaming
Yeah, yeah. Just
Saturday,
feel free to share whatever
Friday,
you want, even if you've told me
Friday
already.
night. It's nah. Some of them are. I'm not the proudest of. So
It's okay, man. This is 18 plus. This is your life.
I mean, I could say there's this one rule here. You're not supposed to get with your flatmates. It's kind of like an unwritten rule. You just don't do it. But I thought it would be a good idea when I was drunk, so I did, and it was I don't know if it was a good idea, but it was it was very interesting the next day, to be honest.
Let's
And
start with some character development. So you told me you moved, right? And you moved in with
mhm,
strangers, complete strangers, correct?
yeah,
Okay,
and it
so
was
then talk about how you met that specific flatmate and how that developed.
so I went in and I was the earliest person in my flat, and and I put in everything and I stole the biggest tray in the fridge. And the first time I met them was I went to a rugby game and I got really drunk. So the first time I've ever met them, I'm drunk, really bubbly, and yeah, she had a go at me for taking the biggest slut in the fridge and like accused me of changing it and stuff. And because I'm drunk, I'm going along with it and stuff. And we kind of just like talked quite a lot, and she was obvious. Well, I wouldn't say obviously into me, but I was like, she was into me, and I could kind of tell, but I didn't. I was like the unwritten rule, so don't get involved. And then she finally told me one night, she's like, oh, she's like, I do like you. So I was like, all right, send I like you as well. And then like every time we'd go clubbing, every time we'd see each other, we just like we just do stuff, and it just kept on going on until like it got to more, and then we kind of like hold it there.
Yeah. So, what is it like now?
It's fine. We don't really like, but we don't really like do anything because I think it got quite not awkward, but quite tension around the flat. Like from like a night out, you were like, "Oh, you didn't come see me" or something like that. So we were both like, "Nah, let's stop this for the better of us."
But you're still there, or did you move out
Yeah,
already?
nah, moving tomorrow. Moving in. I need to collect my keys in 5 hours actually.
Oh, snap. It is so
Yeah,
late for you right now.
yeah, no, it's like 4 in the morning, but
Yeah. And you're still
we're
fine.
chilling. Yeah, anything for a Chang podcast, you know what I mean?
Dang, man, appreciate that. All right, what other stories you got? I know you have a lot of stories, man. Whatever you can
I'm just,
remember.
just like, it's so hard to. I had so many. It was just, I mean, there was that one time that I uh, I did some with a girl in a club bathroom, and the girls and then got caught, and then got kicked out. The most recent one was like I got into a pretty big fight because somebody punched my friend on the way in, and then obviously I got really drunk, and yeah, it turned out being a full group brawl, and when the police asked for like my name and stuff like that, I completely changed it and made it up on the spot with like a new address and like postcode and everything, and it worked. Uh, I'll tell you, like, I'm quite bad at stories, right? But like, see, basically, I have a friend on PC who's called Andre, and he's from Portugal. And I've made it my goal on a night out. It's a wager I have my friends. It's like I need to speak in a like foreign accent and like try get a drink bought for me for free. And I've never not done it on a night out. And I've every single night out I've got bought a drink or given something for free because I say I'm Andre from Portugal, and I mean it's a bad thing. Like I'd say lying to girls in the club, but it's like so fun with my friends because like it's like we had this competition of who could make the most outrageous lie and somebody believe it, and yeah, some of the lies told were just I couldn't even get into
I see. That's
detail.
interesting.
And also my mum, because she was born in South Africa and she grew up there, she told me about it. So I thought it'd be funny to say that I was from South Africa, and then I talked about my mum's childhood and just made it
Yours?
just replace her name with mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I used that a couple of nights. Uh, Mainly another night was I went away with a girl, and then we're kind of chatting, and my friends are I've been a little bit drunk, and somebody's pushed into them, and this random guy's kind of they were left him alone at first, but then he tried to attack one of my friends. So I'm unaware of this at the time, and they push a guy into the road, and then I suddenly hear all this cheering and stuff like that, and then she taps me in the back and is like, "Is that not? Do you not know those boys?" And it's all three of my friends, my other friends, getting chased by the police. Everybody cheering them on, and I'm just sat there. I'm sat there like on a seat, and I'm just like, "No, I don't know them." What do you mean? Oh, it was too funny, and
That's wild.
yeah, yeah, we weren't allowed to go out clubbing for like a week after that because the police were, you could just say like alert, I guess. And there's like there's so many like little stories, but I'll just say another one would be I told my dad I was staying over at my friend's house, and we'd been out in a bar, and a girl asked me to go back to hers, so I did. And then I got home at like 8 in the morning, and I was like, I was speaking to my sister, and she was like, "Oh, where have you been?" Obviously, she knows I'm not. I've been at my friend's place,
Mm-hmm.
and then I said it. I was like, "Oh, I was over at this girl's place and blah blah blah," and then like my dad was up and he literally I turned around and my dad just stood there at the door and he's like, "Oh, your friend's house, where are you?" Oh, I had to deal with him for like a while.
You had to deal with him. What does that mean? Like, was he just giving you shit?
Yeah, he would just make fun of me for it. Like he'd be like, "Oh, are you going to your mate's house this weekend?" And he's like, he would like kind of make fun of me for like getting with girls, if you know what I mean. Like he'd be like, "Oh, getting with girls, or if you're all grown up now and stuff like that."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, kind of just making fun of me, but like friendly jokes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Interesting.
I'd say another one was we did a record. Another fun story would be we had a goal like well this was kind of bad but going into the club we got really bored one night so we did this thing where it's like how many girls can you kiss like pull in a night and it was like that night was mental. I think my friend got slapped because he pulled one girl and then he pulled another and then she saw him doing that to another girl and then she went up and like slapped him. uh Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not really proud of these things. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, usually it just consists of like just getting drunk and like you don't remember half the night. Is my drunks at like nightclubs, as I'm sure you've heard. And like half the time when I come back to stream and I'm like, it's like, oh, well, Ocean, I've just done this, mate. I've done this and that.
Yeah. You've had some crazy stories, man.
Yeah, I've got a haze memory right now. It's got hard.
It's okay. It's on the
It's,
spot.
yeah.
That there's a crazy story about your like you went out with your sister that one time.
Oh no, not that story.
If you want to tell it, I mean you don't have to.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so basically, we went out with my friends beforehand, gotten a little bit drunk, and it's kind of they're like, oh, the kind of night was ending, and they were like, oh, I want to go home. So, I was like, well, I know my sister was out in town, so I kind of I was way too drunk at this point, and like my sister's friends are like really reserved. They don't really party that much, and if they do, it's like controlled. And I was not controlled that night, so I went back and basically like took all their alcohol and then may or may not have made out with one of my sister's friends who had a boyfriend.
Oh shit!
Uh, so that was yeah.
Got
I
that
had some
detail.
I had some complications and it was yeah, it was pretty awkward the next time I saw them, just a little bit. And yeah, she kind of got really annoyed at me for that, which is like fair enough.
Oh,
And my
she
mom
found out.
like yeah, and my mom like sat down and like said to me like you can't do that. Actually, like sister's friends, because like looking back at it now, it's like if my sister was to come out with me and to get with one of my friends, I don't think I'd be happy either. So
Yeah.
yes,
Jeez.
honestly, man, it's so hard to just think of them on the spot right now.
Hmm.
It's
Have you gotten
uh,
to like any other fights?
I got into one where this guy was like, I was doing the kind of like, the kind of like bullshit plan to like this girl where I'd like tell her a bunch of lies and she caught me up for it. And she was like joking around with me, making fun of me. And this guy I don't know who, like, well, I've seen him on campus, but like I don't know him and he's like trying to make fun of me. And I was like, oh, well, I'm not friends with you. So I went up to him and I was obviously drunk at the time. I was like to him, I don't know why you're doing that. You just shouldn't. Like, well, I don't know why you're making fun of me. And he's like, if you have a problem, we can go outside. And he's like, no, you don't want to fight me. You don't want to fight me. And yeah, let's just say he kind of wound him up and looked for a fight. And then he ended up pushing one of my friends, and then he hit me over the head with a hard hat, like a builder's hard hat. So then I went back in, and but I don't, honestly, I don't really agree with fighting. I regret fighting because I think there's many other ways to deal with it.
All right.
And then I've got like a one of the fights I can't I don't think I'd be able to show on stream because it's like graphic, but one of my mates got like bottled over the head with like a
Mhm.
glass bottle, and yeah, he like when we fought that day outside of like the club, and we knocked one of their boys out, and the rest of them like had really bad bruising. Our friend had like a huge gash there, and it was just streaming down with blood all down the side of his face and
Mhm.
all over his top. And we had to actually buy our new uni friend a new top because we felt like so bad because he was helping our friend, and his top got absolutely ruined.
Wow. Crazy stories out the
Yeah.
bars and stuff.
Actually, do you mind if I just go to the toilet for a quick second?
No, go for it,
Absolute
man. Go
burst.
for it.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah. I'm telling you, it's fine. It's fine. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Feels good to know that it's just Saturday night. Good stuff. Good stuff. Commercial break. Exactly. Exactly. Thanks for still sticking around long. Appreciate that. Looking forward to that stream you got going on tomorrow with the farm. Ah, Nathan, thank you. Thank you for the hydrant stretch. I haven't had this chill of a night in a month and a half. Ooh, I'm glad you at least get to chill. Dang, that's a long time though. Tell me about your wins this week. What
Really
wins?
sorry if you could hear any of that, by the way.
No, you're good. I didn't hear anything.
Same.
No wins, no wins, crads. Nothing crazy. Alright, let's get back to it. So, um, you could definitely tell me stories if you have anything. But aside from that, I would just ask you like, do you guys have raves in your area? Are you into that?
We had a fly festival, which is like I've never it's not really a rave. I've never been like actually raving. I've only been to nightclubs and concerts, and I'm really hopeful to go to a festival next year, which is in Edinburgh, because I missed it on tickets. But yeah, I've never been to a rave.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would be a lot of fun, and yeah, I tried to book tickets for a rave, and it was completely sold out like at least 2 weeks before the event was gonna happen. So
Yeah,
yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to go.
got it. Okay. Favorite artist and favorite song currently?
Currently, I'd probably say my favorite artist is Steve Lacy.
Steve Lucy?
No, Steve Lacy.
Oh,
Like,
Lacey, Lacey.
yeah, yeah, and like I quite like his song, like Playground or
Playground.
Out of My Head.
Okay, okay. You've recommended some music before, so I got you. Like,
Yeah.
I know you got some good stuff.
This is like a little bit different from my normal kind of liking,
Oh, okay.
but I vibe with it heavily.
All right, let's talk about relationships, heartbreak, if there's any for you. So, um, you could just talk about people you've had relationships with from the beginning.
So
Let's go
there was
chronological order.
so well, how far back are we going? Like,
As far
'cause,
back as you want to tell us, like it doesn't matter.
I
We
mean
don't
the
judge.
first, I'll go to like the first actual because like we see when you're like 5 or 6 to like kind of like 8, like 9, like you're in a relationship, but it's not really anything serious. I'd say like my first one was from like P6 to kind of like S1 S2. It was it was a girl that was in the running club with me, and
What age is
yeah,
that? Because I don't really know the.
oh yeah, I need to stop
Yeah.
saying like P6 and stuff. This is like 9, 10
Okay.
kind of
Okay.
area. Uh, and then like I met her through running and stuff, and we were friends for a while, and she was in my class, and like I saw her a lot, and I like and it kind of just over time developed into kind of like a relationship. And yeah, it was like really good. It was kind of like the first proper one I'd been in. And we did a lot of things together, like kind of just like sports related. And like honestly, I traveled like so much, and we did like hiking and stuff like that with our parents. But kind of when we went to high school, we were kind of like, I guess you could say like, she was like maturing. I really wasn't. So she was like, this isn't working. And like we kind of just stopped talking. And yeah, like it was kind of hard, but I don't think at that time I didn't really like deep it that much because I was like 12, and I was like, man, just like a girl is okay.
Well, you said
The only
12?
thing, yeah, so I was like, well, that's when it ended because it was like from like kind of like 10 to 12. It was like 2 years
Wow, that's
of
quite some
like
time.
it was like on and off though. It was like you never like at that age you never were like, oh, do you want to be my girlfriend? It's kind of like you just,
Yeah.
for me anyway, it was just like you always hung out together, and yeah, and went on like dates and stuff like that. And then and then yeah, and then I talked to her again in S3, like when I was like kind of 14, and kind of try to reignite it, as you could say. I would be in quotes down bad at this point. So I was like, I tried to get back with her, and it did not end well because she was like, "Nah, I'm done with you," and then I kept trying to convince her to get me back, and it just ended up never working. And yeah, kind of got made fun of for it, but I was quite desperate, so there's a couple of jokes out of that. And then my most recent relationship, which one was quite difficult, was one with like it was in when I was 17,
Mm-hmm.
like 16 to 17. It lasted 4 months.
Okay.
This was a time where I was struggling with like kind of the depression, it was anxiety and stuff. It did reach a new high, and I met this really like smart academic girl who was like who was really good looking, and yeah, she was like the proper like I that one like with the other girl who was the runner and stuff. It was serious, but like this one was like actually the first girl I'd like properly really felt feelings for. And I was at this time, I wasn't good socially. I don't know how I managed to get a girlfriend, honestly. Like at this point socially, uh, and then I had really like trouble. So I'll tell you a story. It was like one time it was her birthday, and I went down. I gave her a gift. Went down to the post office because I was too stressed to stay there, and I had to message her best friend asking like, "Oh, should I come back up to your house?" And it's like, "It's your girlfriend, bro. Just walk up." And I couldn't hold a conversation for more than like 10 minutes.
Hmm.
And obviously, if you have a boyfriend like that who like I slept over dates and stuff, I wasn't a good boyfriend because I was struggling kind of at the time. And yeah, we she ended up like being like, "I'll come over to mine," and we ended up like I said it was mutual to my mates, but like she was like, "I want to end this," and I was like, "Oh, I do too," but I just said that for like to save myself. And yeah, it kind of hurt a lot because I knew it was all my fault, and like I knew I let go of somebody that was like smart and like academic, and somebody that I would like actually be interested in for like a proper serious relationship.
Yeah.
And that was hard to deal with. I kind of when that ended, I was like, oh, I don't care. She didn't mean anything to me, and kind of went through that phase of like started drinking properly. Uh, I could say done a little bit of done a little bit of drugs, a
Mm-hmm.
little bit after that. Um, Not too much though. And yeah, that kind of it did affect me a lot later on when I did realize kind of like what I missed, and when I would see her all the time in school, it would remind me of it, and it would make me quite sad. But
Mm-hmm.
we good now, all for the better.
Yeah.
And then from now on, I've kind of just I don't think it's the right time for me to get into one. I think I kind of just want to go out and enjoy myself a bit. I think everyone else has that mindset as well. I think unless you had something, I think to get into a relationship again, a first year university, second year, I wouldn't recommend it because you're probably going to end up getting cheated on a night out or something like that. So I don't bother.
Dang, it's crazy. Yeah, so you're just doing you, living your first year at uni.
Yes, and yeah, like, and then I guess you could say these kind of count as uh, relationships, but like I had like kind of had like the thing where you'd kind of just you'd be good friends with them, you'd go over to theirs, they'd come over to yours, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had that with a couple of people before I went to university, just over the summer that I knew from high school. But then like that, I kind of stopped that when I went to uni as well, because like not starting to catch feelings, but like so what one side would have at some point. So I cut that. I cut that off. I was like, I can't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. Sure, there you go. What would you say your, like, what's your type of women?
I'd say probably like it's quite like small and I'd say like kind of like athletic. If you like athletic or like a smaller frame. Uh, I don't want to say like I don't want to say like skinny or anything like that, but like I don't want to be like that. But I think yeah, kind of like a smaller girl, like smaller type of build.
Yeah. Okay. What are your current goals and aspirations in life?
I wanna when I come out of university, I have a goal and I want to reach it of being one of the top students of my class.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I want to do, and I want to go straight into find like one of the big get an offer from a big financial firm, and because I think like that's just something I really want to achieve. And another aspiration I have is like overall to really like improve as a person. Like I always try to look to do that, see what I do wrong. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like a bit general, but yeah, I
Yep.
kind of like just chill out. And then I also want to be I do want to captain or maybe like vice captain the first team for rugby when I'm like going through my like final years of university, and I've not really thought kind of too past that. That's just kind of my goals, like the long term ones for now.
Mm-hmm. What's your plan right now for school? Is it a 4-year plan to
Yeah,
graduate?
yeah, 4 years, and I have obviously depending on my grades, I would get the option to do a master's at the end of that,
Yeah. Okay.
which I obviously will see at the time if I'm wanting to take that master's, depending on like how much it would affect salary, etc.
Yeah. How about for your travel experiences and adventurous things that you've done? What have you done so far?
Adventurous, I'd say, it's like kind of climbed up those Munros, which are mountains over like 3,000 meters in like Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up the highest peak in the UK. I've done some like outdoor rock climbing. Uh, Actually, like kind of like holidays and stuff. I went to a bunch of different places and experienced a lot of different things. Like a couple of years ago, I went to Germany uh, on a city break to Berlin. Got to experience new cultures there and went over there to watch football. And one of my best adventures was with football. I got the chance to go to an international cup, where it's like they invite teams from all over the world, and you come play for this cup. And it was when we were young, and it was you got to go to Denmark, Copenhagen, just play football all day,
Mm-hmm.
get buffet food, and just sit around with your mates. And it was honestly some of the best times of my life spent doing that. Going on with the cycling one, it was I got to go to Isle of Man, which was like an island off of the UK, and it's quite a small island. And I would say it was only a weekend, but I went over there and got to experience kind of like the yeah, I should say the new cult, like the different types of culture there, and spend time cycling, and also with my dad, which was a lots of good fun.
Hmm. Nice. Where would you like to travel to in the future?
Definitely Norway. I'd love
Norway.
to go to Norway. Yeah, fjords like the. I feel like it would be such a nice place to go. Iceland as well. I'd love to go to, and I feel like kind of somewhere in like South America, kind of like Peru, Chile, along the lines of that.
Hmm. Nice. So, what culture shocks have you experienced from going to different countries, like Germany, for example?
Um, I think there's. I've not been too bad with like anything anything of culture. There was actually one here recently, and it's we have a word that means something, and there was an American in our campus who used it quite a lot, and I don't think they realised what it means here. To what it was, it's fanny. In America, that means something way different to here. Like here, it means like a woman's like vagina, and then like America, I think I don't know what it is in America, but it was she would use it quite loosely, and everyone was like, eh, "That's quite weird to use that." I'm not gonna lie, it's quite
The
funny.
word? Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I hope that's what you meant by like culture shock, or am I just going on some
Like,
sort of like
like,
tangent?
I was talking about when you went to Germany, like, what differences did you recognize from your own country? Hey, but that's something I was gonna ask
Nice.
you about, like,
It's
American
it's,
comparison.
it's almost 5 a.m. Right?
Yeah, we're good, we're good.
I think something that's different was the food. The
Okay.
food's really different over there, kind of more like a lot more kebab type of stuff. Like there's this really nice thing called currywurst, which is like a sausage with a kind of like curry sauce and like a lot more kind of like bar food and like nice stuff that you can just have as a little snack as opposed to here. We
Mm-hmm.
don't get much of that. Another thing was their their drinking. We went during Oktoberfest and like their beers and everything. It was mad compared to here. It was ridiculous. And their yeah, the kind of food and that, and also another culture thing.
Were the
Um,
people nice there?
yeah, everyone was quite friendly, especially at the football. Like you could obviously you can if you go every week and you're like a current supporter, you can tell when there's like tourists. And obviously, when we were there, it was like some of the guys like in the stands would ask me, is this your first German live match? How are you finding it and stuff like that?" And honestly, the people around me were really nice that day, and like helped contribute to like a really nice memory.
Mm-hmm. Nice, interesting. What would you say is good to know about your home country? You know, Scotland. Like, if people are to visit there or something, like, what are things we should know?
And, like Glasgow, stay away. Glasgow is just like I'm from Glasgow, and I think it's better than Edinburgh. But if you're a tourist, definitely go to Edinburgh. Edinburgh's so nice for a tourist, and definitely have fun and go in the nightlife.
Nightlife?
Scottish nightlife, yeah, Scottish nightlife is you meet a lot of very interesting people, and the kind of culture here is that you'll make new best mates every single night that you go out in a club, and it's like just really different, and everyone's just so close on a night out, and it's just loads of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also say if you're coming to Scotland, you got to try some of the foods. So there's like a deep fried Mars bar from Scotland. Is something else,
Deep
and
fried what?
a deep fried Mars bar. Do you know what a Mars bar is?
No, I don't.
Oh, I need to actually search. I have no idea how to describe this.
It's okay. You could just type it to me, and then I'll look it up.
Ah, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
And it's like a Mars bar.
Mars bar, deep fried Mars bar.
Yeah, and it's like it looks disgusting, but I tell you, it's something magical, mate. Honestly,
Okay, okay.
and you also definitely go to like a like a distillery of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like if it's a whiskey distillery or that kind of thing, because a lot of Scottish whiskey is really nice. Uh, a lot of people like it. And another thing I'd recommend is definitely go to like the Isles. We've got a lot of Isles, like Isle of Skye, Isla, loads of things, and you can do boat rides, go see like dolphins, stuff like that. It's like honestly, Scotland, like the Highland and that kind of region for adventure and like in terms of like the like, the vast range of stuff you can do. It's just a great time.
Would you say like it's very expensive in Scotland? Pricey?
Really depends. You can go to these places and make it a cheap or expensive trip, but I'd say like
Okay.
most of these places are not like are nothing compared to America prices for holiday. They're like nothing compared to that.
Mm-hmm.
Because like going to America and like for example, if you want a holiday in New York, like your bank account's gone, mate. Honestly. But then like in terms of like activities and stuff, everything's pretty cheap over here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like well, it's not cheap, but it's like cheaper than like
Yeah.
I'd say like all the main cities in like America and that.
Yeah. So you're saying your current location in uni, that's like a good spot to be into, like to
Yeah,
visit.
I'd say Edinburgh's like quite good for tourism, and there's a lot of things you can do in Edinburgh, a lot of things you can experience,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of different cultures. But yeah, I'd definitely recommend Edinburgh. But honestly, if you're like an adventure person, I'd recommend highly the Highlands, like Fort William. Well, probably not Fort William actually. That's a bit of a, but like kind of like the Ben Nevis kind of region
Mm-hmm.
where there's like lots of trails and stuff like that. It's something else. It's stunning.
All right. Out of curiosity, how much do you know about North America, like just the United States?
Almost nothing, mate. Honestly, I do not know that much.
Okay, how about like cities? What cities or states do you hear about the most?
Well, obviously like California.
Okay.
I, I know like a couple of states. I know like Ohio because I have like a couple of friends that stay there.
Oh.
Like I mean Detroit is
Mm-hmm.
where somebody I know is from. I don't know why. Like Detroit is funny because like we all just make fun of where he lives, but and then like Texas, I know that, and Florida, like Arizona, well, like New York and like Washington, and you got Washington D.C.
Yeah, you know
Uh,
quite a lot, so that's good.
yeah,
Uh, what are your thoughts about the American accent?
I think it's funny. Honestly, I really like some of the American accents. Just get me, like, they're really funny. But like it's not it's like I don't think it's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, some people like over exaggerate American accent, like how bad it is. But I don't think it's that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Just depends where you go, honestly. The only place that's like really bad is like if you go to like LA and you meet all these like Instagram influencers. That's when like I'd probably laugh, but everyone else is like fine.
Sure, man. Okay. All right, let's talk about social media just a bit, because you said you kind of hit a lot of it, right?
Yeah, but I'm starting to slowly get it back
Okay, what are
as
you
I'm
using
getting
right now?
Snapchat the most because that's kind of just how everybody at my age communicates is through Snapchat. And I'd say like apart from that, Twitter I use quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, TikTok, obviously TikTok. takes up at least like 3 hours of my day every day, just sitting scrolling through TikToks. And I'd say Facebook as well, because I just use Facebook for rugby.
I see, I see. And then in regards to Twitch, how did you find out about Twitch, and like what's your streaming plan for Twitch? If you
I
have
don't,
one.
I like streaming. I honestly, when I get home, I really want to get back into gaming again. Like, and I really enjoyed streaming Rocket League. It was just like I couldn't really do it because of my internet and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like a lot. I did enjoy just like I find the game itself quite boring, but it's like when I was able to sit and do like play with music, chat to people, that's when I like really enjoyed it. So I definitely want to get like back into that. And I found out about Twitch, I think when I was like just entered school. So yeah, kind of like around 2016-ish,
Mm-hmm.
2016-ish, I'd say. And yeah, that was like obviously I was really into Rainbow Six Siege then, so I kind of started watching some of the Rainbow Six Siege kind of influencers back then, and then I obviously everybody went through the Fortnite phase because I was like what 12, 13, so I was one of those annoying kids on Twitch that you see now that really bug everybody because they like, all talk about Fortnite, and then uh, and then I went kind of just stayed with Rocket League for a long time
Yeah.
after that.
So you said Rocket League. You mentioned to me that you're really good at it, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say I wouldn't. Well, I'm decent at it. I wouldn't like to say really good because I'm like nowhere near going like professional. But
Mm-hmm.
like I did play for like a team and I like played in tournaments and stuff like that. The main thing I was good at as Rocket League is like I used to do tournament organizations. So I used to work for a tournament organization where we would create tournaments for Rocket League and I would be adminning them.
Mm-hmm.
So like taking care of matches, player disputes, anything kind of like that. And that was honestly, I found that way more fun than competing. And we got some of the big broadcasts for like pros, and we got a tournament that was it was a thousand euros prize pool, and that was the biggest one I dealt with, and that was lots of fun.
Got it.
And the Rocket League is weird because like I'm a nobody, but I'm. It's funny because like I told you before, it's like I'm friends with professionals, so it's quite weird
Yeah.
because I probably know more than I should have about a lot of people in the community, but like I can't really say anything because I'm like not many people know me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm a little bit known in the Rocket League Twitch community just because I moderate for a lot of the for some of the streamers.
Like big people
Yeah,
on the platform, yeah.
which kind of like yeah medium ranged kind of people. I tend to I mean I don't know if it's sad or not, but I tend to see quite a lot of the same people on all different streams, and just over time through just years of kind of meeting people and stuff like that. I just came to get to know them and saying hi. And there's also a community I'm part of, which is kind of like it's this thing called Shift, and it's for like leaking transfer rumors and stuff. And it's turned into more of kind of like a friend group thing where we do movie nights, playing games together like in house and stuff like that. And I've met a lot of people and like kind of expanded a bit of like my connections through that Discord.
Mm-hmm. How would you say Twitch has changed your life?
I'd say it helped me a lot with getting over like obviously all the problems, and it really just like it made me like experience a lot of different type of people,
Mm-hmm.
and like you because you're going into streams and this streamer's like this, another streamer's got another personality, and like how to deal with people and how to talk with people, like how to talk to people, how to be nice and everything like that. Gaming and Twitch especially helped that with me a lot.
Nice. And you played a bit of Valorant too, right?
Yeah, I played. I used to be like gold, and I used to play with. I think I told you before, Yukio, who's like a Rocket League pro. I played a lot with him, but I just kind of stopped playing Valorant for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I met you, and then when I met the people from the kind of that community I was talking about, where we just play any games, kind of got back into it quite a lot, and yeah, I do enjoy it a lot. It's just quite hard to keep up with all the new operators and stuff like that.
Oh, like the updates and stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
obviously I didn't take my PC here. I'm using my laptop right now. So when I
Uh,
go home, it's
yeah.
like two new agents have been added. All the maps have been changed. A new map's been added. I'm just like sat here and I'm like, I only remember the game from like the start
Whenever.
of the beta.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else you would like to talk about in regards to your life before we get into like the last few questions?
I think we're good.
Yeah. How you holding up? It's like almost 5 a.m. for you, right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm actually not that bad right now. See, for being 5 a.m., I thought it'd be worse, but we're chilling.
Mm-hmm. All right. So if anyone has any questions, Bakir, just let me know. Otherwise, we're gonna finish things off with the last few that I got.
Yeah.
All right. What would you consider as your pet peeves?
Pet peeves. Be somebody that doesn't know when to stop when to stop a joke. So like it's funny at first, but then they don't they don't know when to stop and keep doing it.
Yeah.
I'd say another pet peeve is chewing. Like, see, when you eat, not closing your mouth. That really, like when you're making like a lot of noise. That's it. And also when some days like they don't, when like somebody like tries to, if somebody knows that you care about something and they try to attack you for it, I don't like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
If you can consider that a pet peeve.
Yeah. It's whatever you think. What bothers you? Okay. How about your greatest fear?
Bit deep, but like really deep actually. But like my biggest fear is like honestly death,
Mm.
like death itself. It's like I am just I don't know. It's like dying just scares me, man.
Death.
And like
Okay.
same with my family members dying as well. That's my
Yeah.
greatest fear.
What would you say is your greatest trait or skill?
Uh, that's hard. Uh, greatest greatest trait I'd probably say like just the ability to like I'd say to the ability to observe. Just because like being like a quiet person, you like sit and watch and you're able to tell a lot about somebody pretty quickly,
Mm-hmm.
and like the things are like what they're dealing with and stuff like that. And greatest skill, uh, I think that's kind of goes under the same thing. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
That's
Yeah,
fair. What would you consider as your greatest accomplishment and greatest failure or regret in life?
biggest regret was ever caring what people thought about me.
Okay.
That's the biggest regret. And then the biggest accomplishment, I'd probably say like getting third in Scotland at my cycling.
That's crazy. Speaking of that, was it like a huge gap for the first and second? Do you recall?
Uh, to the first guy, yeah, because this guy was just like he didn't dominate, but he was just like by far the best rider, and like he was literally getting top five in Britain, like the whole of the UK, not just Scotland. So he was really strong. But the other guy it was like really close with as well. But behind me, it was a bit of a gap between me and then the fourth place.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. Last three questions. What was your first impression of me?
Honestly, man, like really caring, chilled out, and like definitely someday I felt like I could trust at least. Like you just felt like a trustworthy person at first, and actually Because like even from the first moment I went in, and it was just me and you, and the first time I ever met you, the first thing you were doing was asking me questions, and like really wanting to get to know me, which was like you showed interest in the viewer, which isn't very often you get that on Twitch, and
Mm,
I kind of felt like an eye, and that's why I kept coming back because it was such a nice environment, somewhere that I needed.
yeah, appreciate that, man. It
Um,
was random, like how you found me, right?
Yeah, man, it's weird, isn't it? It's like honestly, I was like, I was looking for that kind of place to just chill, and I was going through just chatting,
Uh-huh.
and sometimes I go through like viewers lower to high, and I just scroll through it, and honestly, just kind of go into many different streams, see what the overall kind of vibe is with it, and then if I'm not feeling it, then go to another one, and then yeah, found yours to that. I
Hmm.
think you had like four viewers at the time or something. Now you're a big
Yeah,
boy, man. You're getting like, see you in your Valorant streams, you're getting like 40 viewers, 30 viewers. It's insane.
it's raids.
Nah, don't say that.
All right. Who are the top 5 streamers that you find yourself watching the most?
BTMC, who's an OSU streamer. It's Timmy. Uh, I'd probably say you, and then I'd probably say my friends. So I'd say like a chronic expert, and then some guy called Yukio as well.
Oh,
And that'd
okay.
be my top five.
Awesome. Okay. So the last question. Using your connection, who would you like to see as a future guest on this podcast and why?
Using my connection. Uh, I don't, who's I hope hopefully these people haven't been on it, but there's a couple of people in chat that have been quite nice. I think it has Andy been on it.
Andy?
Yeah, the mod. I
No, he
think.
has not, but
Oh, okay.
I don't think he would do it.
Oh,
'Cause-
okay.
yeah,
Nah,
yeah.
some of the voice chats have been he's quite funny, so I love to like get to know him a little bit.
Okay. Let's see if that'll ever happen. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice pick, nice pick. All right. Oh, I think that's it for me though.
Yeah, nah, honestly, thank you for having me on. I'm not gonna lie, might not have been the best guess because some of my storytelling's a bit off.
No, dude, don't even worry about it.
But
Yeah,
like, nah,
listen.
but honestly, it's a pleasure, and it was really nice to speak to you as well. So I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
man. I really appreciate you and your time, for being willing to do this in the first place. I've never like had this interaction with you one on one, at least on video call cam.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll close this out for the YouTube portion, and I'm gonna let you go. You gotta get rest, man.
this is the first time I've done that as well. Like sat with a face cam on a stream, because I was
Yeah.
gonna get one when I was streaming, but my internet just didn't let me stream face cam, so I couldn't.
Hmm. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Chang Gang podcast, episode 26, featuring Kier. Thank you so much for being here, man. I appreciate you once again. Guys, please drop him a follow if you haven't already, and definitely show some love. Any last words from you?
Ash, thanks for having me on.
Mhm.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Make sure you guys give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. This is going to be on my YouTube page, so this is part of history, which is pretty cool. So take it easy, guys, and I'll see you next time.